Okay, so here I am in front of a thrift store. And not just any thrift store. This was a thrift store where I found perhaps the most interesting find ever. I'm just gonna head inside to see if it's still there, and if so, talk about what it is and how I can use it. Okay, and so here we are walking in the clothing section of the thrift store. I've actually found a blues here. I didn't film that though. So let's move on. Now we are walking throughout to the area with the furniture as well as a music section, in towards the electronic section, and there it is, a box that should contain a Philips dictation machine, or dictaphone as it's called in Dutch.
12 seconds later.
Here we go. So this is the box that it came in. It is a pocket memo, so it's a dictation machine. Seems very small. Let's open the box to see what's inside. So of course there is the manual with worldwide service information and typical use case of one of these. Because this is designed to record not music but voice and environment sounds. As you can see here is the big switch which turns on and off and switches between play, fast forward, rewind and of course stop. There's the record button, so I imagine you'd hold this together with play to activate it. Here I'm going to put in 2 batteries. I think this takes AAA's. I had like a full box of AA's, but they're so commonly used. Luckily I have another box that is partially filled with AA's. Let's put in, yeah, not Philips, but Duracell to see if they fit in. Oh, is this for AA or AAA? Yeah, it takes AA's. I thought it took AAA's from the size, but the box says it takes 2 AA batteries. So yeah, here we go. Philips batteries in a Philips portable cassette machine. Except if you might know some foreshadowing. There we go, I've got 2 batteries. Let's see how they go in. I'm going to put one of them in like this, the other one, yeah, the springy bit, and this one goes in like, nope, not like that. It also has a springy bit at the bottom. Check that. So they're going like this? No. Yeah, it's been so long since I've read instruction booklets, but this is just service information. So I guess I'm going to have to put one in positive and the other in negative. Oh yeah, there we go. So this one goes with the positive to the bottom. This one with the negative to the bottom. You close it all up. Let's see if that's the correct placement. Oh yeah. There we go, it is spinning. Now I'm going to need a tape to put in here. Here's one of the tapes. I've got a thrift store before. I didn't get this in a thrifting episode, but live in London, and you get it. If you haven't seen the foreshadowing by the size of the device and the fact that it says dictation machine in Dutch on the back and on the box, yeah, this is not really for the kind of tapes that goes in the Yamaha KX260 over there or something like that. This device is designed for mini cassettes, and Philips is actually the only one who sells them, if I'm correct. So this is actually how tiny the cassette door is. Now if we were to have a look inside the machine like this, like under the light, no matter how good I get a good angle on this, I do not see a capstan and pinch roller. The drive is exclusively in these grips, which are used, or axles, which are used to drive the tape through, which means that the tape doesn't move at a linear velocity. It moves, if I'm correct, at an angular velocity, which means that the less tape is on the driven reel, the faster the tape goes. And of course, that in combination with the rather slow speed of this little axle here means that the mini cassette is not suitable for music. I'm going to have to illustrate using this right here. This is my quite high end actually for its time Yamaha KX260 RS tape deck. And I'm going to take the camera off and have a look inside its tape door. So of course you can see the erase head over here. That's right there, there's the electronic erase using Dolby ATEX Pro. There's the record and play head, and there's the capstan and pinch roller assembly. Basically, the capstan moves at a constant speed to make sure that the speed of the tape is, well, a linear speed, fixed value of, I think, 1/8 inch per second, I don't know exactly. And the pinch roller pushes the tape against the capstan and grips it. Meanwhile, going back to the mini cassette deck, here, no matter how close I get, all I can see is a permanent erase head. There's no Dolby on here, and a record and play head. And there's the, I think that is for voice amplification or something. And there's a built-in mic and speaker. This is like a microphone input to plug in external microphone. I wonder if this can, I wonder if this can power my microphone. So I actually tested by holding this right protect notch in here, holding record and sliding the switch over to the play position. The microphone doesn't even fit, and nor do the earphones. It doesn't come with any earphones, if I'm correct. Actually, no, it doesn't. So it uses 2.5mm jacks for the microphone and the audio output, which means that unfortunately this device, it does have an iPhone control, but it can't connect to my audio interface or to a microphone. It has to use the internal microphone and the internal speaker. So yeah, that's a bit of a disappointment, but it's still a very useful device just to record interesting sounds and stuff like that. You have to be very aware of its button mode. Yeah. But that's that. I'm going to go ahead and get myself a new mini cassette to put in here. After I talk a bit about why certain things that you would need in this box are omitted. So just before I walked out of the thrift store, I opened this box to see what's inside. It says it contains the pocket memo, which is this thing, a 005 mini cassette, and 2 AA batteries. Except the batteries and the mini cassette were omitted. Now, the batteries are very easy to understand. I've seen the 8-bit guy cleaning old keyboards and computers and stuff where there's all kinds of corrosion that may, or sometimes certainly, has been caused by leaky batteries. And so they took out the batteries to protect the device, because it's not cheap. It cost me €65. It says it's affordable, I would call it so, actually. The tape is a bit of a weirder one unless we think a bit more closely, because there are bulk tape erasers that allow you to erase a whole box of tape if you're abandoning an office. I assume that this would be an office surplus. You know, these are commonly used in offices and business systems to allow voice recording. Except that COVID-19 taught us we don't need that many offices and business trips anymore. And so maybe a company sold a batch of these. One of them ended up at this thrift store, and I bought it from there. Except then they would have erased the tapes before either putting them back in the machines or selling them out. Maybe the thrift store themselves had equipment. I don't think so. Very basic setup. So I walked out, I checked, there was no tape. I knew the batteries were easy to find. I mean, I have some AA8s. I thought it took AAAs by the shape. I looked at the back, mine it needed AAAs, but battery was fine. I was able to get batteries. I got a pretty good working strap there as well to protect it from falls and stuff like that when I'm using it like this. But yeah, then it reminded me of something. If we were to, like, if you are an early watcher of my YouTube channel, an early viewer, even a subscriber in the early days, maybe later on, you might remember my first EAS scenario and its remake. They were about kids rising up against adults and setting up their own society. A twisted, inverted mirror. Obviously, you don't want kids coming across sensitive information when they're brought to your workplace. In a moment in which the kid is like unsupervised, maybe the adults are a bit distracted in the office, the kid would come across this machine and a stash of the tapes together, and they would try to use this to play them back. Eventually, they would get the hang of it, and it would suddenly be leaking sensitive information to them. And in general, even outside of those cases, it is a very, very bad idea to keep sensitive information in a place where anyone could reach it. Because, well, it could be abused by others. There's a lot of cases in which that could happen. So, in general, companies, even when they abandon an office, have very, very strict guidelines for sensitive information, which might include burning or otherwise self-destroying the tapes to prevent them from being caught by perhaps a rival company or a thief or something. Because those voice memos could contain very sensitive information. So now I get why they omitted the tape, you know. Let's actually buy a new tape. Now, I thought of going to the major outlet, bol.com, in the Netherlands. They didn't have any mini cassettes. I don't want to go and look on Amazon, I talked before. And so, I found a fairly niche shop where they might have some mini cassettes. The search themselves didn't have them at all, like not even from home to something. They did have micro cassettes, which I presume would have recordings on them. But why not mini cassettes? When clearly, somehow, this mini cassette carrying dictation machine arrived there. Two little side notes about this thing. First of all, I have ordered the tape that I would put in here. Got mini cassette 005. 005. And yeah, it says here on the bottom. It says made in Austria. And it also says AA size battery. That has been covered up by the price sticker. So I couldn't find a charge switch, at least not yet. Which I might have to mean that I'm going to remove the battery right to use an external power supply. But that's the device. Let's wait until this Friday when I'm going to actually get the cassette for this. I'll have to stay at home for that because I bought it online. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Okay, I've got a bit of an update over here. First of all, the mini cassette that I would need for this machine has apparently been lost. The tracking code that I intended to use, or that was sent over to me, was kind of confusing, if not outright invalid. And the package might be with one of the neighbours, I don't know which one. So I've asked the web shop where I've bought the cassette where the package is. However, I've been able to test it and fiddle around with it a little bit, so it does work. However, the second update is actually a bit more hopeful. So I've got the message sent over to the web shop. They're going to be reacting within a couple of days, I hope. However, I did end up finding adapters for 2.5 to 3.5, which means that if I have the correct tape for this, I can actually hook it up to my audio interface at home. It's easier for sampling and stuff like that. So I'm going to be making another video about how I can actually use this thing. I'm going to have to experience the overall device itself as well. Yeah, so see you next time. Bye bye. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do, please give a thumbs up and share this video with all your friends, and perhaps consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.